You gotta have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to be Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you?
Yeah, this looks, I don't know, man. He looks like he's on some gear.
That guy is Defo on Peds.
Yeah, I think he is on the PEDs, man, because this doesn't look right, man. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like there's a little...
After facing cheating allegations, Terence Crawford hit back hard at Floyd Mayweather, accusing him of being unable to accept that someone else could surpass his legacy. Crawford argued that Floyd's doubts aren't based on facts, but on jealousy over the praise he's now receiving. To prove his point, Crawford highlighted Canelo Alvarez's history. He's gone toe-to-toe with heavy hitters like Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Kovalev without ever needing surgery afterward. Yet when Crawford, who climbed up from lighter divisions, beat him, Canelo came out so damaged that his return was postponed. For Crawford, that shocking outcome is exactly why Floyd keeps circling back with criticism.
It's unfortunate, but I don't want to hear it. Breaking news, Canelo Alvarez has undergone elbow surgery after him getting beaten by Terence Bud Crawford. But no excuse, alright?
According to Floyd, the recent cheating talk isn't new at all. He claims Crawford has a history of something being off with his gloves. As proof, he pointed back to Crawford's fight with David Avanesian. In that bout, Crawford's gloves split wide open, exposing the padding. The referee had to pause the fight, and even the commission stepped in to inspect. But after a brief delay, the match was allowed to continue. Moments later, Crawford knocked Avanesian out with a sharp combination. To this day, Avanesian hasn't let it go. He's openly said the whole thing felt suspicious, insisting that Crawford benefited from home advantage in Nebraska. He even admitted the experience left him with bitter memories of the sport.
Commenting, talking about, yeah, Terence Crawford dirty. He's dirty. He's on that snack. He's on that...
Now, with Canelo sidelined and needing surgery, those old doubts have resurfaced, fueling questions about how a naturally smaller fighter like Crawford could inflict the kind of damage that bigger names like Golovkin and Kovalev never managed. To skeptics, it just doesn't add up. But Crawford isn't backing down. He's firing right back at Floyd, insisting that all of this is nothing more than ego. In his eyes, Floyd simply can't handle seeing another fighter soak up the spotlight and get talked about as one of the sport's all-time greats.
It's who has absorbed the bigger shots in the weight division. And it was good. It was a very good point. It was like Canelo has been hit by light heavyweights and super middleweights for the best part of a decade.
Basically,
he's so used to taking those shots, whereas Crawford hasn't. Crawford's been hit by 140 guys and 147 guys for the best part of a decade.
Floyd's recent sit-down with TMZ Sports right after Crawford's big win has stirred plenty of conversation. When pressed about the fight, Mayweather kept his words short, professional, and surprisingly respectful. It's good for boxing. It was exciting. The best man won. Coming from Floyd, who rarely gives out praise without a calculated angle, that was a notable acknowledgement. In that moment, he admitted Crawford's victory wasn't luck. It was a clear, decisive win over one of boxing's biggest names. Still, as the days passed, that rare compliment quickly faded, giving way to the familiar tension between the two.
Canelo, choose one, please.
Guys, we gotta go. We don't.
Can you elaborate on why Crawford is better than Mayweather? Just a little bit of detail.
Oh, he can switch. He's very smart guy.
When the topic shifted to Canelo's age, Floyd offered a more cautious take, planting just enough doubt without being outright dismissive. Oh, I don't know. You know, boxing is a lot of wear and tear on the body. Maybe so. I'm not really sure, he said, when asked if the 35-year-old Mexican superstar was past his prime. It was classic Mayweather, acknowledging Canelo's long run while subtly leaving room for speculation about whether Crawford's victory came against a faded version of the champion.
Little bit of Jay Reed energy. Was this the reason that Terence Bud Crawford whooped Canelo pillar to post, post to pillar?
Get your hand out of my pocket!
Was Canelo breaking down? Is his body deteriorating?
Get your hand out of my pocket!
50 plus fights, 50 plus training camps, not even talking about his amateur fights, not talking about the fights that he fought in Mexico up there in local bars.
That response wasn't an outright jab at Canelo, but it carried just enough weight to spark debate. By suggesting that Crawford may not have faced the very best version of Canelo, Floyd leaned on his veteran's perspective about the toll boxing takes over time. It wasn't a direct critique, yet it left the impression that age and mileage could have dulled Canelo's edge, planting the idea that Crawford's win might not have come against a fully prime opponent.
The guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, you know, big bad wolf, you beat him,
You the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, well, so I'm gonna fight. You beat the shark, you beat the wolf. Right. Dang. Like, you know what I mean? Ain't no more ops out there. It's ops out there, but who gonna make them really want to get up?
Makes sense. That's like you said, you be the shark.
While fans celebrated Crawford's victory and praised his skill, insiders began questioning what comes next for his legacy. Hall of Fame trainer Ronnie Shields, known for guiding legends like Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, gave his blunt take. Shields said that if Crawford truly wants to be remembered as one of the all-time greats, he can't avoid the toughest challenges in his division. In his view, real champions prove themselves against the best. Shields even named names: David Benavidez, Christian and Billy, and Osley Ziglacius as the fighters Crawford would need to face to solidify his place among boxing's legends.
Surgery on his shoulder and will be returning back to Riyadh season mid-late 2026. That means the man is not retiring.
A 2-pack of ass. That shit stinks.
A little bit of...
You ain't no cop, Jay Reed.
Little bit of Jay Reed energy. Was this the reason that Terence Bud Crawford whooped Canelo?
Ronnie Shields warned that if Crawford avoids these challenges, it could cast a shadow over his place in boxing history. He argued that the all-time greats of the past never left divisions just to dodge dangerous opponents, and that Crawford's choices will ultimately define how he's remembered. Shields noted that Crawford might be eyeing a jump to middleweight for a potential 6th world title. But while that would look impressive on paper, it could also be seen as sidestepping real risks. In Shields' view, legendary fighters don't build legacies through safe moves. They thrive in danger and prove greatness by taking on the toughest opponents available.
Before the fight, the Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. Go. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul, Red, Bernie.
Found speculation around. Crawford's future is only heating up. On the 3 Knockdown Rule podcast, Mario Lopez threw out a bold scenario: Crawford moving up to middleweight to challenge Janibek Alimkhanuly. Lopez argued that if Crawford were to unify at 160 and become undisputed in yet another division, his name would be etched in boxing history in golden letters. It's exactly the kind of daring move that both Lopez and Ronnie Shields believe separates great champions from true legends. Legacy, they say, isn't built by comfort. It's built by walking into the hardest fights. Now the real question is whether Crawford will chase that glory or choose the safer path.
When I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me.
Crawford has made it clear that he never set out to overshadow Floyd Mayweather. In fact, he has consistently praised him even after the Canelo fight, calling him the greatest of his era and openly stating on Cam Newton's podcast that while Mayweather was the GOAT of his time, he himself is simply the best of his own era. He stressed that when he sets his sights on something, it doesn't surprise him to achieve it. It only surprises others who didn't believe in him. The irony is that Crawford has never tried to create a rivalry with Floyd. But outside voices, fans, and even Floyd's own comments have kept forcing comparisons, making Mayweather's sharp jabs feel more like a response to the hype around Crawford than to anything Crawford himself has said.
Back at like Floyd's career, like him coming up in the era that he came up in, he had all them champions that he was able to fight, and that's what led him to be so great, you know, because he fought the most champions, beat the most champions, you know, got the most money for beating the most champions.
But the narrative shifted once Floyd began firing public shots at Crawford, forcing a rivalry that Crawford himself never tried to ignite. From Crawford's perspective, the criticism and hate are proof that he's edging closer to greatness, maybe even to the point of being considered the best ever. That belief isn't built on ego alone. It's echoed by analysts and legends who admit Crawford belongs in the conversation, even if he isn't yet etched into the all-time lists. Jiren Andis, for example, named Sugar Ray Leonard, Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, Pernell Whitaker, and James Toney on his Mount Rushmore of boxing, leaving Crawford out not out of dismissal, but because as the new generation standout, his place in history is still being written.
It became a fight where Crawford made it where Canelo to have any chance, he had to go get close. So he had to go through a bad neighborhood.
Yep.
And Crawford mugged him. It's that simple. He had to go through a bad neighborhood to get anything done, to get to the place that something was going to be done good.
Yeah.
And he got mugged going through that neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
He sidestepped questions about a potential showdown with Crawford, insisting his focus is on his 154-pound debut. Yet the subtext was hard to miss. Crawford's presence looms large, and every fighter knows he has the skill and adaptability to step into any era-defining matchup, even one with Floyd. What makes the discussion even more compelling is Crawford's evolution through weight classes. From lightweight to welterweight and now teasing middleweight, he has proven his ability to carry power, speed, and ring IQ across divisions, a trait only the most special fighters in history have managed to sustain.
You did it, boy. You did it. For those who still aren't quite sure what they witnessed last night, I'm gonna let you know that you witnessed what is called a notorious boxing clinic. This is everything done right, okay? First, he worked behind the jab, people. Boxing.
Benavidez himself seems fully aware of the growing chatter. When asked about a potential clash with Crawford, he told The Ring, "To be honest with you, let Terence Crawford live." That's his weight class. His focus is on light heavyweight and cruiserweight opponents, but the fact that Crawford's name is even in the mix shows how serious the conversation has become. Many believe that if Crawford were to step up and beat fighters like Benavidez or others at that elite level, it would not only elevate his legacy, but, in some eyes, place him above Floyd. Because unlike Mayweather, he'd be conquering active, dangerous, top-tier opposition in their prime, rather than operating within carefully managed limits.